Yo, 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 what's up, everybody? Thank you for tuning in to yet again another fantastic indie comic creator interview. It's your host, Cody, your Capes Crusader, and we're keeping it geekly. We are here with our good friend, Austyn Graham, and we're going to be talking about his brand new comic, Sir Phoenix Knight of the Mighty Flames, issue number 1. Austyn, welcome to the show. How are you doing today? And give us a little bit of a breakdown about yourself.
Thank you. I am Austyn Graham, a lifelong fan of comics and heroes, and especially for this case, Tokusatsu, since that was my main inspiration for this webcomic. May I ask you something, Cody?
Yeah.
What is your kind of relationship with, at the very least, Power Rangers?
I grew up watching the original Power Rangers, the ones that came to the States, not the one that was originated from. Like, I know there is another series out there where the American version kind of just like took bits and then filmed their own adaptations to it. So I got to see the OG one. Pretty big fan of Billy. Billy was like my favorite Power Ranger in the beginning. But I didn't have a lot of opportunity to watch the other ones. I mean, I watched the what's the one with Ivan Ooze with I think it was the animal. Yeah, the Animal Instinct. That was right around the time the last that I seen of them.
That's fine. Just like I like to ask this question just to get like non-hardcore fans their perspective. I think it's just interesting to ask that question.
Yeah.
As a person who is hardcore, it's just like a nice, insightful thing to ask.
So what was your favorite Power Rangers, though? Which one drew your attention the most, I guess? Which one was the one that kind of gave you inspiration to create this comic? Did you draw it from Power Rangers?
Yes, actually. I was Lightspeed Rescue with the main character, who is Carter Grayson. He was an aspirational character, and I wanted to keep that hopeful, aspirational, badass nature to my main character. Although design-wise, it's from the Japanese version of Jetman. It's called Jetman because it's birds. I like birds in general.
Yeah. So what drove you to want to create comics? Where did you find your beginning and your start with indie comic creation?
Believe it or not, this is going to be kind of ridiculous, but my main inspiration was, of all things, South Park. I kid you not. Because at the time when The Dark Knight Rises was very popular, they did their parody of it with their South Park episode called The Coon. I really enjoyed that episode, and I was like, why don't I create my own superhero? I chose a Phoenix because I live in Arizona, and one of the cities is called Phoenix, Arizona, and, well, that's the main thing from there.
So I noticed that an interesting tidbit that the main protagonist goes to Ohio State University. Was that correct? What was your inspiration for that? I'm actually from Ohio, so when I seen that, I was like, okay, pretty cool. That not too bad.
I love the environment. It always looks like a beautiful state, and also I have cousins from Ohio.
Okay, no, I got you. So the main protagonist is he lives in Phoenix, Arizona. Then?
No, he lives in Ohio. But
okay, Ohio. So let's go ahead and start breaking him down. Who is he? What's his story, and how does he come to become Sir Phoenix Knight?
Well, you see, Michael is sort of the kind of inspirational character who is kind of struggling to find himself because he's only 19 years old, but after finishing high school, he's already questioning what should he do with his life. I got inspiration because I was kind of like in that nature of I mainly knew what I wanted to do, but I did not know what else to do after that.
Yeah.
I wanted to give, this kind of relatable character of young people who basically don't know what they want to do with their lives, some kind of meaningful purpose.
So, where, we see a rather interesting sequence of where he is able to pick up, it looked like a gem. What was the importance of this gem, and what type of powers does this gem offer? I remember one of the other characters picked up a blue one, and it looked like sort of like some demonic force. was the one behind that one. So what are the differences between like these two characters and the gems that they come from?
The gems are, well, essentially just gems. But anyways, they have these ancient beings known as haunts in them. With that, they are basically mythical creatures in them that were sealed away from many years ago during the Middle Ages.
So what type of creatures are they that were sealed around that time? And what made you want to choose the Middle Ages out of any age out there?
Wait, can you repeat the first question? I didn't.
Yeah. What type of creatures from the Middle Ages are they?
Traditional mythical creatures like unicorns, Pegasi, manticores, cyclops, goblins. And the reason why I chose Middle Ages is because that's sort of my favorite era. I've always had a love of knights and swords and sorcery ever since I was young.
So in this comic, we see Michael basically find the gem that helps him become Sir Phoenix Knight, correct?
Mm-hmm.
So where do we see Michael's journey within the first issue end? You know, how do we end this issue, and where are we going to see issue number 2 begin off of?
In purgatory. Essentially, he meets his friend who will help him in aiding him, named Joseph. Essentially, those two are a buddy cop partner duo who comes and helps the people like.
So with issue 2, you said that's already halfway done. It's gonna have him in purgatory and in hell. How does he end up in hell, transitioning from the end of issue number 1? It seems like it's quite a big jump for Michael to end up in that place out of all places.
Well, in my universe, it's kind of like you go to purgatory and then you're always judged for all your actions you've committed.
Okay.
If you've done a bunch of good stuff, heaven. A bunch of bad stuff, go to hell.
So Michael wasn't like inherently bad in the beginning, I take it then?
No, it's just that he was indecisive, and just being that indecisive of actions and stuff kind of leads you to just going to hell in the first place.
So how do we see him come out of hell, though? How does he end up being reborn again out of where he ended up?
Well, essentially, he makes a contract with this phoenix, again named Joseph. They both agree to work together and share the same power set of shooting fire from their hands and others' powers as well. It's like making a contract. Do this thing and then you're free to go.
Okay, I gotcha. So he essentially is bonded to this power. What does that mean for Michael, though? I mean, in the future after issue 2, how do we see these two intertwine with one another? And how far are you wanting to take this series?
The two, to give an example of what my thinking process is something like the original Yu-Gi-Oh! Like 2 souls, 1 body. Michael controls his body, but also Joseph can also control the body too. They can also speak at the same time. That's how you can also have a different vocal cords speak from you at the same time. Just accept it. And I don't know. Here's sort of my mindset. Do 5 arcs and then do a special little mini arc. Maybe the standard season of a TV show, like 50 episodes or so. So
how many issues do you have planned for the first arc then?
At least 3.
So we are already almost 2/3 of the way through. What big plans do you have for Michael then? Do you have anything any sort of big surprise for us in issue number 3?
More backstory than anything else, and also more setup for just who who the bad guys are.
Okay, and then are you able to talk about who the bad guys are in particular, or is that something you wanted to keep secret?
I can talk about at least the three haunts.
Okay, yeah.
Haunt's Ghoul, who is just basically, I guess you could say, like a Darth Vader stand-in. He does the bidding of his master, who's anonymous for now. He does the bidding. He does essentially all the dirty work to do some recruiting for all of his army in hopes to get enough to help resurrect him from his grave.
Mm-hmm.
The other one is Han Cockatrice. Essentially, what a cockatrice is a dragon chicken. Okay, so he's one of the more standout Hans who will participate later on in one of the more major arcs of the series.
So yeah, you put a lot of time and effort into these. What was your inspiration for the first two that you mentioned? I know you said there was three, but for these first two, especially that last one, you said it was a mixture of a dragon and a chicken as well, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what was your thoughts and inspirations that went into these?
Hans are comprised of usually three different traits. One being demons. They all have these blue eyes, blue devil tails, and blue horns, because they're just kind of that evil. Two, mythical creatures, essentially like Pegasus, goblins, and so on and so forth.
Mm-hmm.
And finally, three, knights, because again, they're basically knights as well.
Okay, no, I got you. So yeah, sorry for interrupting you. Let's hear about that third one then.
Mm-hmm. Knights.
So you named off the first two for us. Didn't you say there was a third one that you could reveal the enemy?
Oh yeah, Haunt.
Yeah.
Hyena. Haunt Hyena is essentially kind of this low life grunt who sets in to more or less is like, the basic, the level 1 starter.
So with indie comic, you all good?
So, sorry.
No, you're fine. You're fine. So with indie comic creations, what's been some of the trials and tribulations you've gone through? You're the writer and the artist for this project, correct? So what's the average work day look like for you with this comic?
Usually one whole day is dedicated to the script, and then the rest of the 2 weeks or so is just dedicated to the art itself.
So how much would you say like a page takes you? Like about a day, 2 days, roughly?
Yeah, somewhere in that area.
So with Power Rangers being your biggest influence, where, are we going to see Michael eventually start to take on more of a role, like where he'll get, some sort of Megazord or, Megatron or any sort of like suit where, he gets inside of it to control it?
He does, yeah, suit layer on, but no, this is not no, he doesn't get any sort of giant robots, sadly.
Okay, no, I got you. So, yeah. Hey, I mean, there's still a couple more arcs to go down the road, though. Who knows? So, with this being your very first comic, how did you end up creating this website to host it on? I mean, you have your own site right now that you're hosting it. What drove you to wanting to create a comic and putting it on this website instead of going down the traditional like Kickstarter or Indiegogo campaign?
Well, give me a moment. I'm trying to remember a bit. Well, you see, I wanted to more or less just go ahead and put it out there for the world to see. I don't care. I'm not in this for the money, by the way.
Okay.
I'm perfectly happy with money. I just want to express my art and just let the people see my artwork, for better or for worse. Any criticism is perfectly fine. I need it. I thrive on criticism in any form.
No, and I think that is healthy in terms of like being able to grow as like an artist and a writer and creator, as well as hearing, the negatives and what you could do to learn about it. As long as it's constructive criticism, I feel, instead of people maybe just being trolls or something out there. Now, with the first arc already kind of like just broken down for us, you know, do you have plans already for the second arc as well, or is that kind of just up in the air?
Oh yeah, I've spent like years on writing this script actually.
Okay, so you have the whole caboodle planned out.
Right here, and
All
also
right, let's go.
And also a thumb drive too.
So what would you like, for any like questions I haven't really asked, like what would you like to talk about in terms of this comic? You know, where are we going to go down the road? You said you have the second one already halfway through. It takes you about 2 weeks. Are you working actively every week on this until you get done, or are you taking breaks in between?
I take small breaks in between, but majority of my time and day is just spent on writing and just drawing out.
Okay. Do you have any other like ideas, I guess, or you know, a comic in mind outside of this one in particular, or is this kind of just your passion for right now?
Right now, but I do maybe one day intend to more or less go ahead and make my own not Pokemon / Digimon / catch 'em all monster genre.
Yeah. What types of monsters are we going to see in that, if that does come to light?
I got one already, essentially a monkey artist.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah. So what's some of the hardest parts about creating this comic for you? Being the artist, being the writer, about roughly 2 days with a page, and you already have the script done. So I mean, do you do everything digitally? Do you have any sort of like storyboard that you're looking off of beforehand, that, you know, when you go to create this?
Oh yes, I do. I always after I finish writing, I always do a storyboard and then copy and paste it into like a blank file, and then I start going ahead and doing drafts of it.
So is you know, religion going to be a pretty big part of this as well? I noticed that Michael had, you know, a big cross, you know, that he was wearing. Are we going to see more of like a religious aspect to this as well?
It is, but it's not going to be preachy or anything like that. It's like inspiration, because like civilization for like long time depicted, you know, what's the ultimate evil? Devils. What's the ultimate good? Angels. That sort of goes in with the theme of it's good versus evil. That's the major theme of this show, so why not?
Okay, and is this just going to focus on one person, or are we going to see other people join Michael in his fight against evil?
That's a secret.
Okay, all right. So with most of that out of the way, what else would you like to tell us about this comic? You know, for anyone who is, you know, hasn't had a chance to read it, you know, it is free on your website, but what else would you like to tell us to the audience, listeners, and to me myself?
My art style is kind of a inspiration of things like of Hiro Machima and Suzuki Takahashi, the creators of Yu-Gi-Oh! And Fairy Tail, respectively.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And oh, go ahead.
No, that was it.
So with that being said, though, how many different variations of enemies and bosses are, you know, big type of creatures that Michael's going to come across, do you have planned out and worked on? I mean, we've seen some pretty gnarly ones, and you told us about those the 3 ones he's going to be eventually coming up across, but like as far as like, I guess, the typical creature he's going to come across.
I'm thinking, well, before, when I first started, it was going to be simple, a few, but now thinking of it, I'm thinking monster of the week, and then specific generals that stay around per issue.
Okay, yeah, that'd be pretty cool. So you're looking at maybe having some sort of like army of darkness that he's going to be fighting? Cool. So are those they're going to be like actively trying to take over the world, and he's just going to be trying to fight against them, or what's their main purpose?
Yeah, it's simple. Take over the world. I know it's basic storytelling, but I like basic storytelling.
Yeah, and there's nothing wrong with that, especially if you're filling in the dots in between. You could definitely do a lot of good world building, you know, with that. So let me ask you this question, Austyn. So one of my favorite questions that I like asking indie comic creators, for anyone that's out there that's just kind of stuck wanting to just go, wanting to just create, you know, like you did. You said you just one day got up and just sat down and just started making it because you wanted to. So anyone who's out there that's kind of struggling with doing that, what type of advice would you offer them to help them get motivated to start?
I say look at the works you've always read / watched / read / even played, and think to yourself, wow, this is so awesome. And think to yourself, maybe you could do the same thing one day and be as popular as said media.
Okay.
Just take your time first. Do at very least some scripting, just some planning out. Think of themes and work on your craft first, and then that will help you get to where you want to be.
Yeah, because it's all like stepping stones. You know, the more stones you have to step on, the higher you're gonna get.
You put in great words.
Yeah, I appreciate that. And Austyn, I really appreciate you coming on the show. This was just issue 1, so when issue 2 comes out, let me know. We'll definitely get you back. Hopefully have a little bit more to talk about around that time frame as well. Was there anything else you wanted to finish on, you know, with your book?
Nope, I'm fine.
And where can audio listeners and viewers find your comic? You know, what was your website?
Give me a moment.
And we'll be sure to put that. We'll be sure to put that in the description so you guys have a clickable link as well.
Special Showcase Comics.
So yeah, be sure to check that out and read issue Sir Phoenix Knight of the Mighty Flame issue number 1. Austyn, once again, thank you for coming on and hanging out with us. But most importantly, guys, I hope you guys have a fantastic Wednesday. We're going to be pumping out another podcast later on this evening. And yeah, with that being said, guys, I hope you have a good night and keep it geekly. So